Good morning, my dear, my darling. So I'm here in Europe, right? I'm in France, in Paris. I'm going on a tour. I'm going to Belgium in a little while. Then we go down, pass through Switzerland, and we go to Italy. So we'll also stay in Belgium, in Italy, and then we go to Amsterdam, right? First Belgium, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, then we pass through Switzerland and go to Italy, stay there in Italy, and then we go to Spain. And after Spain, we go back to Paris to come back to Brazil at the end of this month, okay? And whenever possible, I'll make a video here to give you detailed updates on what's happening there in Brazil, okay? But I can already tell you that everything is fine. It's really hot here. It's very warm. The heat here, guys, is like the heat in Goiânia. When it's really hot in Goiânia, it's stuffy and hot. That's the kind of heat we have here in Paris, okay? For us Brazilians, at least for me, since I'm from Goiás, Goiânia, this heat is just like what we have there in Goiás, Goiânia, okay? Anyway, shall we go? So Flavio Bolsonaro has completely lost any chance of support from the Confederation, União Brasil, and PP, given the scandals that are happening and the arrests and operations that the federal police are carrying out. Why is that, Andrea? Because Flavio Bolsonaro's allies are being targeted. What does that mean? That every day they get closer to Flavio Bolsonaro and that he might be targeted as well. Why? The people I'm going to tell you about now all belong to Flavio Bolsonaro's political group in Rio de Janeiro. Or else they have a direct connection with Flavio Bolsonaro himself, and who are being targeted in search and seizure operations, who are being arrested, who are having their assets frozen. For example, Flavio Bolsonaro's mother just had all her assets frozen by the court. And she would be on a Senate ticket there with Marcio. And Marcio, who was the mayor of Belford Roxo, there's even a video of Flavio Bolsonaro supporting him and everything, was arrested by the federal police. So, the Senate ticket in Rio de Janeiro, supported by the PL, by Flavio Bolsonaro, was Marcio and his mother. And there would be a third one there, which would be him, actually, Flavio Bolsonaro himself. If he really didn't run for president, that's it. The guy is in jail. The lead candidate on the ticket is in jail. Flavio's mother had her assets frozen. This just happened. And what else just happened too? More than 5 people were arrested, including another state representative from Rio de Janeiro from the political group of the PL of Flavio Bolsonaro. Tiago Miranda was the target of a search and seizure operation. Tiago Miranda is the one who used to talk and handle most of the communication between Flavio Bolsonaro and Daniel Vorcaro. That's right, exactly, Tiago Miranda. He was also the target of a search and seizure operation. And the scheme is huge, guys. Notably, Circo is right there, like the eye of the hurricane. Rio de Janeiro, where Daniel Vorcaro's mafia is, where there's corruption, embezzlement, criminal organization, theft, every kind of crime you can imagine. Illegal gambling, militia, Red Command, direct connection with the Red Command. And this isn't something new. Everything is falling apart, and it's been happening for a while. Back when T.H. Joyas was arrested, do you remember? That's right, there was the arrest of T.H. Joyas, then there was the arrest of Rodrigo Bacelar. Who was Rodrigo Bacelar? He served as president of the Rio de Janeiro Legislative Assembly. He had already been like the one appointed, the one chosen by the Bolsonaros, by the Bolsonaro family and by everyone to succeed Claudio Castro. Claudio Castro became governor of Rio de Janeiro with the support of Flavio Bolsonaro and the Bolsonaro family. He planned to run for the Senate, and who was going to take over? Exactly Rodrigo Bacelar, who is in prison, former president of the Legislative Assembly, removed from office and declared ineligible by the TSE. He was going to succeed. He even received a medal from Bolsonaro. He was going to succeed Claudio Castro in the government of Rio de Janeiro, but they didn't expect that. They didn't expect the police to arrest him, and they didn't expect the TSE to remove him from office and make him ineligible. Both Claudio Castro and Rodrigo Bacelar himself. So it comes from T.H. Joyas, from Rodrigo Bacelar, from Claudio Castro himself. For me, it's only a matter of weeks before Claudio Castro goes to jail. Claudio Castro is going to jail. The former governor of Rio de Janeiro, from the same political group as Flavio Bolsonaro. I can't show it to you here in the video, but you can search for lots of photos and videos of Flavio Bolsonaro with Rodrigo Bacelar. Lots of videos and photos of Flavio Bolsonaro with the former mayor of Belfort Roxo, Marcio, who was also arrested. You can look it up. The former governor of Rio himself was impeached and is ineligible. So what happens in the face of all this? Flavio Bolsonaro is melting away. Just like ice here in Paris. You put the ice in and it melts really fast. That's the situation. And in this context, there's no chance left for the Confederation, which is the Central, right? The group they expected to get support from PP and União Brasil. There's no chance of getting support from PP and União Brasil anymore. Flavio is desperate. And to make the whole situation worse, there are two issues. One issue was that Flavio, in the midst of the whole crisis here in Brazil, rushed off and went to the United States to see if he looks good. But the effect is the opposite. He's looking really bad. Who was at the event in the United States that he is now attending? Eduardo Bolsonaro. They even tried and posted the photo cutting Eduardo Bolsonaro out of it. But the photo with Eduardo Bolsonaro next to them leaked. So Eduardo Bolsonaro conspires against Brazil. He tries to sabotage Brazil. He was the one who went after the high tariffs on Brazil. He's the one who is going after sanctions against Brazil. And then Flavio goes there to say that he will try to overturn the high tariffs. How come if he's on their side at the event? With the one who went after it, fought, took false documents, created a series of narratives exactly so the Trump administration would do what it did and what it is doing against Brazil. Then, my dear, the market, the Faria Lima crowd says, we're not buying it, you get it? Then he goes there to try to cover up a little what's happening in Brazil. But what he does just makes everything worse. And there's another situation happening as well. The back and forth between them. Eduardo Bolsonaro has already attacked Nicolas Ferreira, he has already attacked Michel, and now he has attacked Zé Trovão. Because Zé Trovão said that Bolsonaro is responsible for the people arrested on January 8th, that Bolsonaro should have told him to leave and go home, and not to stay there at the Praça dos Três Poderes. Then Eduardo Bolsonaro even called him a son of a bitch, a bum, this whole situation. He also attacked Paulo Figueiredo before, so that's the fight between them. And Damares has already gone after them and said that those who support Eduardo Bolsonaro and Flavio Bolsonaro are traitors to the country, Damares Alves. What's really happening, my dear? There's no more room for Flavio Bolsonaro, but I want him to stay. No, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you. I want him to continue. It's better for us. I want him to continue. But the scummy right wing that covered up for the bum have already realized that there's no more room for him to stay or for him to run as a candidate. Because Lula is going to win in the first round. So what are they desperately trying to do? Separate themselves, distance from Flavio to see if they can bring up another name. But there's a catch. Who's absolutely not backing down? Ronaldo Caiado. Ronaldo Caiado has already said he won't back down from the fight. And if he wants Bolsonaro with him like Michel Bolsonaro, let them come, but he won't let go. So what happens then? Even if the Bolsonaros manage to put together a ticket, except for Flavio, if they even manage to do it, because I don't think Flavio is going to back down either. If they manage to do it, there will be Bolsonaro's ticket, Flavio's ticket, and Caiado's ticket, besides the others. The right-wing vote will be split all over the place. And I say and repeat what I've told you from the beginning. Lula will win in the first round. And look, because of them, obviously Lula has done very important work. He governs well, thank God, and thanks to his ability and his humanity. That's something we also have to put on the table. But have you ever stopped to think that Lula hasn't lifted a finger until now? And they're fighting, clawing at each other, going at it. They're stabbing each other in the back. My dear, Lula wins in the first round, and their fight is among themselves, and the issue is very simple. The far right is not a problem for the left. The far right is a problem for the right, who fed it, who created it, who financed it. The far right is a solution for the left. Maybe after this election, the right will wake up to reality and realize that it fed the crocodile grew, and the crocodile's big mouth is now against the right itself. In other words, the giant crocodile, the snake of the far right, the rattlesnake that the right created from the far right, it turned against you on the right. And what do I think? I think that's not nearly enough. And I always say, let it all burn. Because who didn't know that the Bolsonaro family is treacherous? Who didn't know that all this talk about God, country, family, baby is just a bunch of nonsense? Everyone knew. Only the right wing didn't know. Makes me laugh. So here's the thing. Lula wins in the first round. Write that down. And there's another important thing I have to tell you. Flavio Bolsonaro will wish he hadn't entered this race. Who actually hasn't even entered yet. It's not even a candidacy, it's a pre-candidacy. He will wish he had never gotten into this mess. Why, Andrea? Because those who have dirt to hide, wherever they go, there's a scheme. And for a presidential candidacy, everything comes to light. All your past, all your dirt, all your vulnerabilities, it's exposed. And if there's someone who has a lot of vulnerabilities and a ton of dirt to hide, that someone is called Flavio Bolsonaro. If you mess around before the election, he'll be in jail. And at this rate, he won't even register his candidacy for president of the republic, but he will run for the Senate. And he won't win a Senate seat or even a House seat anymore. He'll wish he had never gotten into this situation. Write this down. Flavio Bolsonaro, traitor of the nation. Lula wins in the first round, and stay tuned. I'll come in here whenever possible, and I'll send a notification on the WhatsApp channel. Join in. The link will be in the first comment, okay? Kisses, and over on Instagram, I'm sharing the news from here with you all, okay? How things are here and so on and so forth, okay? Like, comment and share. Stay tuned. I will always be with you. Much love. Until next time, take care. Bye. See you later.